All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And what I've been doing is going through a series of video presentations for the Rankin Technical College AWD Application and Web Development 1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases class. The actual textbook for the class, as shown on screen right now, is ASP.NET MVC with Entity Framework and CSS by Lee Naylor. I have concluded that this book is very, very complex. So first I have been going over a different book, and that is Professional ASP.NET MVC 5 by John Galloway and others. That book bases much of its material on a 10-part series called the MvcMusicStore Music Store. So far I've gone over part 1, the overview and the file project, or the new project, controllers, views and view models, and I'm kind of in the middle of part 4, models and data access. So I went through this, was trying to work with SQL-CE, which is the compact edition of SQL Server, and was having some problems with it. So I want to go back and review and make sure that I haven't missed anything. So we were supposed to come in and create an artist class with an artist ID and a name. And there's our artist class with our artist ID and our name. Good start. Next, we were supposed to update our album class, which I believe originally only had like a couple things in it. All right, so it now has 8 things in it. So let's check on those. Now, probably in here, the one that's going to be the least important is the album art URL, because we don't even have that. All right, every one of these albums is going to look the same once we get going. Also notice that we've got an entire genre in here and an entire artist in here. All right. Then make the following updates to the genre class. I believe originally it had genre ID and name, so we're adding description and a list of albums. And there that is. Okay. Now, again, adding the AppData folder, as mentioned before, we don't have to do this. So back in the day of MVC3, you had to right mouse click on your project name, choose Add ASP.NET folder, and one of the ones that was added was AppData. Now, I said this before, I don't know why we would want to do this, but technically there's nothing in here, so I could remove it. And then come back in here, right mouse click, choose Add, ASP.NET folder, and AppData, and boom, it's back again. I don't see any virtue or any reason for doing that, but we could do that. All right, so creating a connection string in the web.config file. We were supposed to go down to the bottom of our connection string and then add this. I'm going to come back and I'm going to add that all over again. So copy. When I go down here to the bottom, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and I've got this folder that I've called, maybe you can see why I like to close things when I'm not using them. Well, I know I had a folder in here. Huh. All right. Well, I'll bring this up. I'm going to remove all of this. All right, and I'm going to paste, not that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my project. I'm going to find the web.config file, which is right here. Control A, Control C to copy, and paste. All right, so right now, that connection string is right here. There appears to be a problem with that. All right, but I do want to keep the original, so I'm going to keep it right there. All right, so I'm going to come back into here. And I'm going to grab where this connection string is, and I'm going to cut it right there. Then I'm going to go down to the very bottom of my program, which is right here, and copy that in. Hopefully you can see why I kept the old one. Okay, I don't need that configuration. There we go. That should be all right now. All right. Then right mouse click on the models folder. Again, I believe I did this already, and add a MusicStore entity.cs class. Notice that that right there is this. MusicStore entities, MusicStore entities. So there's MusicStore entities. You can see what I have in there right now. All right. And we are told, so let's just knock this down and see. All right, so using system data entity, namespace, MvcMusicStore.models, public class MusicStore entities, inherits from DB context. We've got our public DB set albums get set, public DB set genres get set. Really doesn't matter, but I do have, I do have a blank space. Good. All right. So the author says, this class will represent the EF or the Entity Framework Database Context. That's what this stands for here. And it will handle all of our CRUD operations, those being the create, read, update, and delete for us. The code for this class is shown below. I just mentioned it to you. All right, that's it. There's no other special configuration, etc. By extending the DB context base class, our MusicStore entities class should be able to handle our database operations for us. Now that we've got it hooked up, let's add a few more properties to our model class to take advantage of additional information in our database. So we wanted to seed the data. All right, I brought that file in, that sample data.cs file that we were supposed to put under models. There's sample data CS. It's right there. Now we need to add a single line of code to tell the entity framework about the sample data class. Double click on the global ASAX file and add this. I've added it already, but again, I'm trying to be sure I'm not missing anything. That's why I'm going back over this. All right, global ASAX is here. There's that file. Here is what we added, but I'm just going to go back and re-add it. There it is. All right, so we've got all of that as shown right here. At this point, we've completed the work necessary to configure the entity framework for our project. All right, this is around where I stopped. I may have done more of this, but I don't remember. All right, before I left yesterday. Now let's update our store controller so that instead of using dummy data, it instead calls our database to query all of its information. Start by declaring a field on the store controller to hold an instance of the MusicStore entities class, that named StoreDB. There's nothing special about that name right there. All right, so let's go into our store controller. And right at the beginning here, there we already have it, but boom, there it is. All right, nothing new there so far. All right, updating the store index to query the database. The MusicStore entities class is maintained by the EF, and it exposes a collection property for each database table. Let's update the store controller's index action to receive all genres in the database. Previously, we did this by hard coding in string data. Now, instead of doing that, we can use what's available to us in the EF. All right, so again, this is the store controller's index action. And again, that should be in the index, so okay. Whoops. I don't know what I know what I did. All right. So, public action result index. Why does that look so... Oh, that's in this, let's see. Store controller's index action. So we better go to the store controller, not the view. So the store controller, we want to find the index action. I believe we've already got this. Okay. No changes need to happen to our view template since we are returning the same store index model we returned before. We are just returning live data from our database now. When we run the project again and go to /store, we should now get all 10 of our genres. Let's see if indeed that happens. So, save all. Let's go to the store's index, right mouse click, and try to view this in the browser. Hopefully we won't get any errors. Oh boy. No entity framework provider found for the ADO.NET provider with an invariant name system.data.sql server CE. Make sure the provider is registered in the entity framework section of the application config file. It says see this link for more information. Now this is a different error, I believe, that I got yesterday, but that was the line where I got the error. So, see if I can possibly debug this. My goodness, I hope I can. I had this problem in a situation where I have a model project that has references to both the entity framework and the SQL assemblies, and a separate UI project that uses etc. etc. I wanted to upgrade. I actually had to do part of what was described here. I want to emphasize that I did not add a reference to these projects. No. Yeah. So I had to add the hack line. Alright, so I need to go into, let's look at this first. This post discusses the update from Entity Framework 5 to 6 and where we must be vigilant in the face of NuGet's magic. So this is a hack that they had to put in there to make sure that this worked. Copy that. Again, I'm going to just come and add this here. And I want to make sure that I put it in the right place, or at least attempt to. Boy, this scares the heck out of me because I'm going into system code to do this, and I don't like doing stuff like that at all. You know, and you can say, well, you can always just get rid of it. Yeah, but you just never know what's going to happen when you do this. Okay, so then comes that. Now it says this fixed the provider not loaded error. Okay, so whoops. I want to make sure that's the error that indeed I'm getting. I kept the error up, or at least I believe I did. No provider. Make sure the provider is registered in the Entity Framework section of the application config file. So I believe what we have to do is go into these references, and in these references we have to find the abstract class base domain context. You know, I went through this project about a year ago with one of my classes, and what I'm going to quickly do, I have no idea, let me just quick look, is to take a look and see if I can somehow save that. So that would be on my, let's close a bunch of these because I don't know why they're all open anyway. I'm going to go over to my E drive and see if I still have this. Well, there's the tutorial. That's not going to help me much. That's the entire tutorial and all of its 136 lines of glory. And I guess that is pretty much what I had. So I'm going to copy that, save that to the desktop. So now I've got that. I did the project with my class, and I don't have any idea. Oops, no, that was not good. Sheesh. See if I can grab one of my students and see what's in there, because I don't really have any idea. So let's grab, I don't know, Ethan's. MVC. I wanted to see if there's the music stores in there. That's a demo. I don't know what that one is. something else. I'm going to let that finish up. That definitely does not look like it. This is weird because it's giving me stuff here. Oh, these are the presentations I've created. Okay. Log files. Well, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this. I'm already at 28 minutes, and I've shown you where where the problem is. I want to see if I can fix it. So I'll be back in a couple minutes.